Welcome to Daily Stoic Habits. Have you ever felt like your mind is a runaway train, spiraling into worst-case scenarios or black and white thinking that leaves you stressed, angry, or just stuck? What if there was a way to hit the brakes, find calm in the chaos, and take back control of your thoughts? That's exactly what we're diving into today with the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, philosophy that's been battle-tested by emperors, thinkers, and everyday folks for centuries. In this video, we're unpacking how Stoic thinking can help you conquer extreme thoughts, find balance, and live with unshakable clarity. So, stick with me, subscribe to Daily Stoic Habits, and hit that bell icon to join our journey toward calmer, wiser you. Let's set the scene. Picture yourself scrolling through your phone, bombarded by headlines screaming about the next crisis. Or maybe you're replaying a heated argument in your head, convincing yourself it's all or nothing. Your heart races, your thoughts spiral, and suddenly everything feels like a catastrophe. Sound familiar? We've all been there, caught in the grip of extreme thinking, where every setback feels like the end of the world and every disagreement feels like a personal attack. It's exhausting, isn't it? That's where Stoicism steps in, like a steady hand on your shoulder, guiding you back to solid ground. This isn't some dusty philosophy from a history book. It's a practical toolkit for navigating the messiness of modern life. Stoicism, born in ancient Greece and perfected in Rome, is all about focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. Think of it as mental armor, forged by folks like Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire while wrestling with the same anxieties we face today, or Seneca, who faced exile and betrayal yet stayed cool as a cucumber. Their secret? A mindset that cuts through the noise of extreme thoughts, those always or never traps we fall into. Extreme thinking, or what psychologists call cognitive distortion, is like a mental glitch. It amplifies your fears, poisons your perspective, and makes mountains out of molehills. Maybe you bomb a presentation and think, I'm a total failure. Or you see a friend's vague text and assume they hate you. These thoughts aren't just unhelpful, they're toxic, fueling stress, conflict, and even burnout. Why does this matter? Because in a world that's constantly pushing us to react, judge, and overthink, Stoicism offers a way to pause, breathe, and choose reason over chaos. It's not about suppressing your emotions or pretending everything's fine. It's about seeing things clearly, like wiping fog off a window. When you stop catastrophizing or assuming the worst, you free yourself to act with purpose, whether you're tackling a tough workday, mending a relationship, or just trying to get through a rough morning. The beauty of Stoicism is its simplicity. It's not about changing the world around you, but changing how you respond to it. Trust me, that's a game changer. In this video, we're going deep into how Stoic principles can dismantle extreme thinking and replace it with clarity and calm. We'll explore the core ideas of Stoicism, like the dichotomy of control, which teaches you to focus only on what's in your power. We'll break down why our brains love to spiral into all-or-nothing traps, and how that messes with our lives. And most importantly, we'll walk through practical Stoic techniques. It's like reframing your thoughts or preparing for the worst-case scenarios that you can start using today. By the end, you'll have a roadmap to tame those runaway thoughts and build a mindset that's resilient, rational, and ready for anything. So, you're ready to trade stress for serenity and overthinking for action? You're in the right place. Daily Stoic Habits is all about making ancient wisdom work for your modern life, and I'm thrilled you're here. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss a video. Let's jump into the world of Stoicism and discover how it can help you conquer extreme thinking, one thought at a time. Ready? Let's do this. The foundation of Stoic philosophy offers a timeless framework for mastering the mind and navigating life's challenges with clarity. At its heart, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what truly matters, stripping away the noise that fuels extreme thinking. This section explores the core principles, virtues, emotional insights, and key thinkers that define Stoic thought, providing a bedrock for overcoming distorted perspectives. The cornerstone of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control, a principle that cuts through mental chaos like a knife. Simply put, it divides life into two categories: what you can control and what you can't. Your actions, choices, and attitudes. Those are yours to command. The weather, other people's opinions, or random misfortunes. Those are beyond your growth. Epictetus, a former slave-turned-philosopher, nailed it when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This idea is liberating because it redirects your energy toward what you can actually influence. Extreme thinking often stems from obsessing over things outside your control, like ruminating over a coworker's snarky comment or fearing a global crisis you can't fix. By focusing only on your response, you sidestep the trap of spiraling thoughts and anchor yourself in action. For example, you can't control a traffic jam, but you can control whether you stay calm or rage at the wheel. This principle isn't just a theory. It's a mental habit that builds resilience. Stoicism also rests on four cardinal virtues: justice, courage, temperance, and wisdom. These aren't abstract ideals, but practical guides for living well. Justice means treating others fairly, even when emotions run high. Think of staying kind during a heated argument. Courage is about facing challenges head-on, not just physically but mentally, like admitting a mistake instead of doubling down on pride. Temperance keeps you balanced, helping you resist impulsive reactions that extreme thinking thrives on, such as snapping at a friend over a minor slight. Wisdom ties it all together, enabling you to see situations clearly and choose the rational path. These virtues work like a compass, steering you away from all-or-nothing mindsets toward measured, principled decisions. When you're tempted to catastrophize, wisdom reminds you to pause. Temperance keeps you steady. Courage pushes you to act. And justice ensures you don't lash out unfairly. When it comes to emotions, Stoicism doesn't advocate for a robotic, emotionless life. Instead, it aims for eudaimonia, a state of flourishing that comes from living in harmony with reason. Emotions and Stoic thought arise from judgments we make about the world. If you judge a setback as catastrophic, you'll feel despair. You see it as a chance to grow, you'll feel empowered. Seneca, the Stoic statesman, argued that emotions like anger or fear aren't inevitable. They're choices we can reshape. Eudaimonia isn't about chasing fleeting pleasures, but cultivating a deep, lasting contentment by aligning your thoughts with reality. Extreme thinking disrupts this by distorting your judgments, say, assuming one failure defines your worth. Stoicism counters this by training you to question those knee-jerk reactions and ground yourself in rational perspective. It's not about suppressing feelings, but directing them wisely, like a sailor steering through a storm. The Stoic philosophers themselves embody these ideas through their lives and writings. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, wrestled with the pressures of ruling an empire, yet used his meditations to remind himself to stay humble and focused. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." His words show how even a man at the pinnacle of power leaned on Stoicism to tame runaway thoughts. Seneca, despite facing political intrigue and exile, emphasized preparing the mind for adversity, a practice called Premeditatio Malorum. He believed anticipating challenges without exaggerating them builds mental toughness. Epictetus, who endured slavery, taught that freedom lies in controlling your mindset, not your circumstances. His Enchiridion is a manual for staying steady. Amid chaos, these thinkers didn't just preach. They lived Stoicism, proving its power to anchor the mind against extreme thinking. Together, these elements, the dichotomy of control, the four virtues, the pursuit of eudaimonia, and the wisdom of Stoic thinkers form a robust framework. They teach you to distinguish what's in your power, act with principle, manage emotions through reason, and draw inspiration from those who've walked the path. Extreme thinking thrives on distortion and impulsivity, but Stoicism dismantles it by centering you in clarity and purpose. Whether you're facing a personal crisis or a fleeting frustration, these principles offer a mental blueprint for staying grounded and moving forward with intention. Extreme thinking is like a mental filter that distorts reality, turning shades of gray into stark black and white. It's the all-or-nothing mindset that convinces you one mistake makes you a failure, or one disagreement means someone's your enemy. It's known as cognitive distortion. This pattern involves exaggerating problems, catastrophizing outcomes, or polarizing situations into extremes with no middle ground. Picture someone who spills coffee and thinks this day is ruined, or assumes a friend's silence means they're hated. These aren't just fleeting thoughts, they're mental habits that amplify stress and cloud judgment. Understanding extreme thinking and its impacts is crucial because it's a common trap that disrupts lives, relationships, and decision-making. Often without us realizing it, at its core, extreme thinking is defined by rigidity. Psychologists describe it as a tendency to view situations in absolutes. Something is either perfect or worthless. Someone is either a saint or a villain. This TTC Hoek Kang G approach leaves no room for nuance. For instance, if you don't ace a test, you might label yourself as incompetent rather than seeing it as a single data point. Or you might overgeneralize, thinking, I always mess up, based on one setback. This mindset also fuels magnification, where small issues balloon into disasters like assuming a minor work critique means you're about to be fired. These distortions aren't just quirks. They're mental shortcuts that misfire, warping how we interpret the world and ourselves. The consequences of extreme thinking ripple outward, touching every corner of life. Psychologically, it's a recipe for stress and anxiety. When you catastrophize, your body reacts as if the worst is already happening, heart racing, palms sweating, mind spiraling. Over time, this chronic stress can lead to burnout or even depression, as every challenge feels like a life or death stakes. Socially, extreme thinking breeds conflict. If you assume someone's slight was intentional, you might lash out or cut them off, escalating misunderstandings into full-blown feuds. In groups, this mindset fuels polarization. Think of online arguments where people demonize opponents rather than seeking common ground. Professionally, it sabotages decision-making. Someone who thinks if this project isn't perfect, I'm done for might procrastinate or overwork, paralyzed by fear of failure. These impacts aren't abstract. They erode mental health, strain relationships, and hinder rational choices. What drives this mental trap? One major culprit is social pressure. Modern life bombards us with expectations, perfect careers, flawless appearances, curated lives on social media. When you fall short, it's easy to think, I'm not enough rather than I'm human. Misinformation compounds this. Sensationalized news or viral posts amplify fears, convincing us the world is more chaotic than it is. A headline about a single crime can make you think danger lurks everywhere. Then there's emotional dysregulation. Without tools to manage feelings, Small triggers like a rude comment can spiral into apocalyptic thoughts. These factors feed off each other, creating a cycle where pressure, distorted information, and unchecked emotions lock us into extreme thinking. Real-world examples show how this plays out. In personal life, consider someone like Alex, who misses a gym session and thinks, "I'll never get fit." Instead of adjusting, Alex quits entirely, trapped by an all-or-nothing mindset. This isn't just about fitness sits, how extreme. Thinking turns a hiccup into defeat. At work, take Sarah, a manager who gets critical feedback. She assumes they think I'm incompetent and overworks to prove herself, burning out instead of addressing the feedback calmly. Her distorted lens makes constructive criticism feel like a personal attack. In relationships, imagine Tom, who misreads a partner's quiet mood as rejection. He accuses them of not caring, sparking an argument that could have been avoided with a simple question. On a broader scale, political discourse is a hotbed for extreme thinking. People label entire groups as good or evil based on single issues, shutting down dialogue. Online, this fuels echo chambers where nuanced views are drowned out by absolutes. These scenarios aren't rare there every day. Moments where extreme thinking hijacks perspective. The student who thinks one bad grade ruins their future. The coworker who sees a missed deadline as career-ending. The voter who writes off an opponent as irredeemable. They're all caught in the same mental web. What makes extreme thinking so insidious is its self-reinforcing nature. Each distorted thought strengthens the habit, making it harder to see clearly. Left unchecked, it doesn't just skew one moment, it shapes how you approach life, turning small problems into insurmountable barriers. Breaking this cycle starts with recognizing the pattern. Extreme thinking thrives in the shadows, masquerading as truth until you shine a light on it. By understanding its root, social pressures, misinformation, emotional reactivity, and its toll on mental health, relationships, and decisions, you can start to question those knee-jerk thoughts. Are things really as dire as they seem? Is there a middle ground you're overlooking? These questions are the first step toward dismantling the mental distortions that hold you back, setting the stage for tools like Stoicism to restore balance. In clarity, Stoicism isn't just a philosophy to ponder. It's a practical toolkit for taming the wild swings of extreme thinking. When your mind spirals into all-or-nothing traps, Stoic techniques offer a way to pull back, refocus, and move forward with clarity. This section dives into key Stoic practices: Premeditatio Malorum, self-reflection, reframing, and mindfulness. Explains how to apply them to counter extreme thoughts. And highlights the transformative benefits of calm, better decisions, and a positive mindset. Stoic Technisra, Premeditatio Malorum. Preparing for the worst. Picture this. You're lying awake, imagining every possible disaster: losing your job, failing an exam, or a fight with a friend blowing up. Extreme thinking thrives in these runaway scenarios. Premeditatio Malorum, or premeditation of evils, flips the script. This Stoic practice involves deliberately visualizing worst-case outcomes, not to scare yourself, but to strip them of their power. Seneca advised imagining setbacks in advance to prepare your mind like a soldier training for battle. By mentally rehearsing challenges, you reduce the shock if they happen and realize most aren't as catastrophic as they seem. For example, if you're dreading a work presentation, imagine it going poorly. You stumble, the audience looks bored, and ask, "So what?" You'll likely survive, learn, and move on. This diffuses the exaggerated fear that fuels extreme thoughts, grounding you in reality. Self-reflection, journaling, and inner dialogue. Extreme thinking often sneaks up. It's masquerading as truth until you call it out. Self-reflection, through journaling or inner dialogue, is like holding a mirror to your mind. Marcus Aurelius used nightly reflections to dissect his thoughts, asking, "What disturbed me today? Was it in my control?" Same way, write down a moment you felt overwhelmed, like thinking, "I'm a total failure after a mistake." Break it apart. Why did you feel this way? Is the thought factual or distorted? This process uncovers patterns, like assuming one error defines you. Inner dialogue, meanwhile, is a real-time check-in. When you catch yourself spiraling, pause and ask, "Is this thought helping me?" By questioning your assumptions, you weaken the grip of extreme thinking and build a habit of rational scrutiny. Reframing, shifting your perspective, your mind is a storyteller. But extreme thinking writes bad scripts. Reframing, or changing your cognitive frame, lets you rewrite the narrative. Stoics like Epictetus taught that events don't cause distress. Your interpretation does. If you think this traffic jam is ruining my day, you're framing it as a disaster. Reframe it. This is a chance to listen to a podcast. Suddenly, the same event feels neutral or even positive. Reframing works for bigger stakes. 2. If you're rejected for a job, extreme thinking says, "I'm not good enough." A Stoic reframe might be, "This wasn't the right fit, but I'll keep improving." This shift doesn't ignore reality, it finds a constructive angle, cutting through black and white distortions to reveal nuance. Stoic. Mindfulness. Staying present. Mindfulness in Stoicism isn't about meditation apps or incense, it's about anchoring yourself in the now. Extreme thinking pulls you into hypothetical disasters or past regrets, like replaying a fight or dreading a future failure. Stoics urge you to focus on the present moment, the only place you have power. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." You're stuck in a spiral. Ground yourself. Notice your breath, the chair beneath you, the task at hand. This interrupts the mental loop and brings you back to what's real. Practicing Stoic mindfulness means acting with full attention. Whether you're washing dishes or tackling a project, instead of letting your mind run wild with what-ifs. How to apply Stoic techniques? Step 1. Identify. Extreme thinking through self-reflection. The first step is catching extreme thoughts in the act. Self-reflection is your tool here. Keep a journal or pause during a stressful moment to pinpoint what you're thinking. Suppose you're upset because a coworker ignored your idea. You might write, "They don't respect me. I'm invisible." That's a red flag and all or nothing leap. Ask yourself, is this thought based on evidence? Could there be another explanation, like they were distracted? This process exposes distortions, like assuming the worst or overgeneralizing. Over time, you'll spot these patterns faster, stopping them before they spiral. Inner dialogue works. On the fly, when you feel a surge of anger or fear, mentally step back and name the thought. Naming it, "This is catastrophizing," reduces its power. Step 2. Use the dichotomy of control. Once you've identified an extreme thought, apply the dichotomy of control to refocus.
Ask,
what part of this can I control? If you're panicking about a looming deadline, you can't control the outcome or your boss's reaction, but you can control your effort, preparation, and attitude. Extreme thinking often fixates on what's uncontrollable, like fearing judgment or random setbacks. By zeroing in on your actions, you sidestep that trap. For instance, if you're obsessing over a friend's vague text, you can't control their feelings, but you can control whether you ask them about it calmly. This shift channels your energy into productive steps, dissolving the exaggerated stakes that extreme thinking creates. Step 3. Apply reason to reduce negative emotions. Extreme thoughts thrive on unchecked emotions, like fear or frustration. Stoicism counters this with reason, like a flashlight in a dark room. After identifying a thought and focusing on what's controllable, use logic to challenge the distortion. If you think this mistake means I'm incompetent, list evidence. To the contrary, past successes, skills you've honed, feedback you've received, then reframe it rationally. This was one error, not a reflection of my worth. Premeditatio Malorum helps here, to imagine the worst outcome and reason. Through it, if you fear losing a client, realize you'd likely find another or learn from the loss. This logical approach cools hot emotions, placing panic with perspective. Benefits of Stoic practices these. Techniques aren't just mental exercises, they deliver real results. First, they foster calm. It's by focusing on the present and what you can control. You stop wrestling with hypotheticals that fuel anxiety. Reframing a setback as a learning opportunity feels like lifting a weight off your chest. Second, they sharpen decision-making. Extreme thinking clouds judgment, pushing you toward rash choices or paralysis. Stoic practices clear the fog, letting you weigh options rationally. Instead of quitting a job in a huff, you might calmly assess your next steps. Finally, they build a positive mindset, not the forced cheer of toxic positivity, but a resilient optimism rooted in reason. You start seeing challenges as manageable, not apocalyptic. Over time, these habits rewire your brain, making extreme thinking less automatic and balanced thinking your default. Applying Stoicism to extreme thinking is like training a muscle. It takes practice but gets stronger with each rep. You're journaling to spot distortions, using the dichotomy of control to stay focused. Or reframing a crisis as a challenge. These tools ground you in reality. They don't promise a life without problems, but they equip you to face them with clarity and strength. By weaving these practices into daily life, you'll not only tame runaway thoughts, but also build a mindset that thrives under pressure. Turning chaos into opportunity. Meet Lisa, a marketing coordinator facing a tight deadline for a major campaign. Her boss is demanding, her team is stretched thin, and a key graphic designer just called in sick. Lisa's mind spirals. If this fails, I'll lose my job. I'm not cut out for this. Her extreme thinking paints the situation as a catastrophe, fueling panic and self-doubt. She's stuck, snapping at colleagues and second-guessing every decision, convinced one misstep will ruin her career. Lisa turns to Stoic techniques to break the cycle. First, she practices self-reflection, jotting down her thoughts in a quick journal entry. I'm a failure if this project flops. She challenges this by asking, is this true? Have I succeeded before? Recalling past wins, she sees the thought as a distortion, not a fact. This calms her enough to move forward. Next, she applies the dichotomy of control. Lisa lists what she can control: her effort, communication with her team, and time management. She can't control her boss's reaction or the designer's absence, so she lets those worries go. This focus shifts her from fretting to action. She delegates tasks and adjusts the timeline, feeling more grounded. To counter her fear of failure, Lisa uses Premeditatio Malorum. She imagines the worst. The campaign underperforms, and her boss criticizes her, and she reasons, I'd learn from feedback and keep going. My job isn't my entire identity. This reduces the stakes, easing her anxiety. She also reframes the situation. Instead of this is a disaster, she thinks, this is a chance to problem solve and grow. Finally, Lisa practices Stoic mindfulness, staying present during tasks. When her mind drifts to what-ifs, she refocuses on the email she's writing or the meeting she's leading. This keeps her productive, not paralyzed. The results are striking. Lisa's mindset shifts from apocalyptic to practical. She stops seeing the project as a make-or-break moment and views it as one challenge among many. Her behavior changes, too. She communicates calmly with her team, makes clear decisions, and meets the deadline with a solid campaign. Her boss praises the effort, but even if he hadn't, Lisa's newfound clarity would have cushioned the blow. She feels calmer, more confident, and less reactive to pressure. By applying Stoic tools, self-reflection, dichotomy of control, Premeditatio Malorum, reframing, and mindfulness, Lisa transforms a stressful situation. Her extreme thoughts lose their grip, replaced by rational focus. This case shows how Stoicism turns mental chaos into actionable steps. Fostering resilience and balanced behavior in high-stakes moments, Stoicism offers a powerful antidote to the mental chaos of extreme thinking, guiding us toward clarity and resilience in a world that often feels overwhelming. By embracing its principles, we can dismantle distorted thoughts, those all-or-nothing traps that amplify stress and cloud judgment. Techniques like Premeditatio Malorum, self-reflection, reframing, and mindfulness, paired with the dichotomy of control, empower us to focus on what we can change and let go of what we can't. Whether it's navigating a high-pressure workday or calming a spiraling mind, Stoicism provides practical tools to stay grounded. Its strength lies not in abstract theory, but in daily application, turning challenges into opportunities for growth. The benefits of this philosophy are profound. Stoicism fosters a deep, unshakable calm by teaching us to anchor in the present and reason through emotional storms. It sharpens our ability to make rational decisions, cutting through the fog of panic or exaggeration. Most importantly, it cultivates lasting happiness, eudaimonia-rooted in living with purpose and virtue, not chasing fleeting highs. These aren't just ideas. They're life-changing habits that anyone can adopt. From Lisa's story, we saw how Stoic practices transformed workplace stress into focused action, proving that even small shifts in mindset can yield big results. So, what's the next step? Start small, but start now. Try journaling tonight to spot one extreme thought, or practice reframing a frustration tomorrow. Use the dichotomy of control when stress creeps and ask, what can I control here? These practices don't require hours. They take moments of intentional effort. Make them part of your routine, like brushing your teeth, and watch your perspective shift. You don't need to be a philosopher to live like one. Just a person willing to take charge of their mind. Due to time constraints, we'll wrap up here. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it offers even a small spark of insight, I'm truly fulfilled. Save it to your playlist to revisit anytime. Please like and share it with others. Sometimes a timely message can change a life. Don't forget to subscribe to Daily Stoic Habits and hit the bell to catch our next valuable video. Goodbye and see you soon.